What's up, guys? I'm Hope. What is up, guys? I hope you're doing well. I am really excited to be able to try out the new updated version of the RVXX Aggressive High Gain Amp Sim by AudioSalt. I did a demo of the previous version that you'll find somewhere up here for you to check out. I was really impressed by how that sounded, and when I saw that they were gonna update it and add some new cool features, I was really eager to get my hands on it and try it out. And the day has finally come for me to check it out and make a demo for you guys. So we're gonna check it out right now. I'm gonna go through all the new cool features that they've added, turn some knobs and jam through it and see what sounds we can get out of it. So let's just dive right in. So it looks like this when you load it up. And the first thing you notice is that the GUI has been updated. Looks a lot cooler in my opinion. And one cool thing that they've added, which they've also added on their Sigma update, which you can also find a demo by me somewhere up here, is that the GUI is scalable like this. So if you have a lot of plugins in your session, you can make the GUI small like this. Or if you have really poor eyesight or something like that, you can make it bigger. If you have an external screen or something like that as well, you can make it totally fit your screen, which is really nice. Other than that, on the amp section here, you can find your basic switches and knobs. So starting off from left to right here, you have your power switch on and off. You have your A and B button here to switch to the different channels. So this amp sim is based off a really aggressive high gain lunchbox amp, which has two channels. The lead channel here, the channel A, is really aggressive, but you can actually get some pretty cool broken up cleans as well with it on the channel B, which I'll go through a bit later. So the switches between them here. You have a wide mode, an aggressive mode, which gives you a bit of a mid scoop and some added aggression. Pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show you that as well. And the knobs here is, first of all, a gain, 3-band EQ, bass, middle, treble, a presence knob, a depth knob, and a master volume. Up here, you'll find your input and output switch. And in the middle here, you'll find the different other features that they've added. So going on, first of all, on the left here is the Stompbox section, which has also been updated in the GUI department. It looks really cool right now. You have your gate, which is also pretty self-explanatory. A boost, which boosts lows and highs. And a drive, which acts like a tube screamer. And then you have the amp section, and the next section is the cab section, which also has been updated to their dual cab loader, which is basically that you can add two different types of IRs and blend them together with this A-B button right there. And you can either add the IRs that are included, which sound really good. I'll go through a bunch of them here, as you can hear how they sound. But you can add your third-party IRs. If you have your own IRs, you can add them and just blend them in like so. So these buttons on the left and right side here are the same. So if you go from the left side here, you have your phase flip, a high-pass filter, low-pass filter, a pan knob, and a level knob. The level knob is really nice since some IRs are not in the same gain structure as some other IRs. So you can easily match the levels if you want to blend IRs here. If you want to have either IR a bit louder, you can just adjust it with the level knob here. And going on further on is the FX section, which is also updated. A lot of updates here in this one. And starting off on the top, you have your graphic EQ, which gives you a really nice possibility to shape the tone of your guitar sound. Scoop some mids maybe, cut out some bass, add some highs. It's really nice. And you have a delay and a reverb. And on the right side here, you have your settings, where you have your input routing, left to right, or a stereo mode. Your oversampling, which basically gives you a bit higher detail and a bit higher quality. It adds a bit more to the CPU, but not as much. You can change the graphics from native to OpenGL. And this is the last update that I'm going to show you here as an amp model. So you can change from standard to my amp. And the my amp function acts like a a profile that's added to your email address, which is your customer profile. It's not a drastic difference, but you can hear some slight changes in the low frequency. Fucking hell. It's not a drastic difference, but you can tell some difference in the low end, a bit in the mids and in the highs. And I think if you stack a bunch of these with the MyAmp section engaged, you can really hear the difference then if you have a bunch of tracks going at the same time with this plugin instead of just running it singular like we're doing right now. But I think you can hear a slight difference, which is pretty cool actually. So basically you have your complete guitar chain here in one plugin. The only thing maybe you need to add afterwards is maybe some limiter or something like that if you want to push the signal even further. Or maybe have a, which I often do, depending on what type of IR I'm using and what type of amp or sound that I'm after, maybe add a EQ before the amp, which you can do to shape the DI in front of the amp to push it where you want it. But other than that, it's pretty total package right here. And it's not so heavy on the CPU as well, so you can easily stack a bunch of these, have 2 for rhythms, maybe 4 for rhythms. You can also have it for a bit layering and maybe some cleans without overpowering the computer, which is really nice. Yeah, so that's it on the updates and how the amp looks. I'm gonna start off and play through it. So no more fucking talking, right? So this is how it sounds when you load it up with the stock cab IR, which is this RVXX 4x12. This is the cab that has been used in the demo in the beginning. I hope you liked it. And this is the cab that I'm gonna demo this through because I think it's more appropriate to the sound that you expect to hear when you load it up. So on the amp section here, I can show you as well that I'm not running anything other than the Flatline plugin from Submission Audio. And that's basically only for volume wise, so you can get static volume on the stream. Other than that, there's no EQ or anything on this stream right now. So as I said, enough talking, this is how it sounds. Sounds really kick-ass, if I can say so myself. So let's go through all the knobs here from the beginning. And starting off, we're gonna keep it on the lead channel here. The gain knob here is pretty self-explanatory. Either less gain or more gain. And there's plenty of gain to go around. Next up is the bass. Middle. And treble. Press. nice bite to the sound there. And depth knob. Reduce some output. Cool way to fatten up the sound. And last, the master volume here. And as I said, it acts like a saturator. So it sounds like this when you crank it. So as you can hear, it doesn't add more volume, it adds more saturation and compresses the signal a bit more. You can use it more like a saturator when you maybe want to have some breaking up cleans or fuzzy sound. You can just crank the master volume and then have some more saturation in your sound. And so that's pretty much it here. So as I said, it's a 2-channel amp. It's based on a really high gain, aggressive lunchbox amp. But the second channel here is a bit less gain, and you can get really nice clean tones out of it as well. So let's try and quickly dial in a clean tone. And also I'm gonna play through so you can hear it's a bit less gainy on this channel. So let's take down the gain, maybe add the output and reduce the input. Have a clean sound. Get really nice semi-broken up sound here as well, which works really well in context in a song. Really like it. So that's channel B, less gain, but let's focus on channel A here, which is the lead channel, because we're all about the metals, right? Yeah. So put this on noon and head over to the Stompbox section. And this GUI is also updated, looks really cool. And to the left here, you have the gate, which is pretty self-explanatory. Either you have a noisy guitar, or you have a quiet guitar. You have set your threshold here as well. And next up is the boost pedal for boosting lows and highs. If you crank both of them, it's really overpowering. You can set this to normal. Off. Really nice fuzzy tones you can get out of it by cranking them both. One tip that I have is to slightly add more highs and reduce maybe some lows. And for your lead tones, you can use this pedal to make the leads really cut through the mix. Take it off. It sounds good without it, but boosting this up really helps the leads to cut through the mix. Maybe add some post EQ and you're basically good to go. Moving on to the dry pedal, which is basically a tube screamer emulation. This is a pedal that I normally use in all my recordings because it helps really nicely with low tune guitars, maybe 7 strings, 8 strings, down to 6 strings. And the way I have it set up is that I have normally anyway, the drive on 0, level on max, and the tone depending on what type of sound that I'm after, maybe depending on the amp sim or the IR that I'm using. I have the tone in the middle at the moment. And in this way, I use it as a clean boost. It pushes the front end of the amp and really helps to reduce the muddiness in the low end, helps it to be controlled more and a bit more note definition. So if we go to the amp and reduce the gain, so you'll hear more of a difference. This is normally how I would set it up for a jam. If we disengage it, sounds like this. And when I engage it, yeah, more aggressiveness, and the low end is more controlled and less muddy. So that's it with the pedals. I'm gonna disengage it and move over to the cab section here. And as I said, it's a dual cab loader, which allows you to either use 2 of the IRs that are included in the plugin, which are really great in my opinion. I'm gonna go through them one by one in the list here, and you can hear the difference. You can use your own IRs if you make them, or you can use a third-party IR as well. Just load them up here and use this A and B button here to blend them together, or use them individually, either or. The buttons on the left and right side here are the same. On your left side here is your phase flip. You have your high pass filter, low pass filter, and pan knob, and the level knob. The level knob is really good if you have IRs that are different in volume, so you can easily match them to get a balanced tone, basically. So I'm going to go through this list here and play through them so you can hear how they sound. And I have the stomp box section disengaged besides the gate. The amp is on noon, basically. Just have a bit more reduced gain so you can get a feel more of how the cab actually sounds and if it adds more gain or if it reduces some gain maybe. And I'm going to go through cab by cab in this section so you hear the difference. And regarding the name, I think this one is a diesel cab. It sounds like this. And next one, I think, is a Soldano. So this is a lot higher in volume, so I have to reduce it. So the level knob comes really in handy. Yep, sounds really good. Next one, orange cab maybe. It's a bit lower, so I'll raise the volume again. Yep, sounds great. And next one, Jesus cab. And next one, diesel again. Tighter. So next up is the Sigma, which I've done a demo of before, so I'm pretty familiar with how this IR sounds. Was included in the Sigma version 2 update that they released earlier. And this sounds like this. Yeah, really nice. And the RVX 4x12 here, RVXX 4x12 sounds like this. And this is the IR that is loaded by default when you start the plugin up. Sounds really good. One of my favorites. Next one is PV one. A bit more mids in this one. And I have to say this Olympics in sloppy playing here, but you have to bear with me. And so that's the PV one, and the next one is Marshall. Sounds cool. Next one is a Mesa, maybe an oversized because of that tall name there. Sounds like this. It has that really nice character of the Mesa Boogie oversized cab. And next one looks like a copy. I'm not quite sure if it has any difference. Maybe slight, not that much though. Next one could be a VHT, maybe VT fat bottom. Let's take a listen. Nice character. next one also VHT. A slight difference. Yeah, so there you go, a bunch of IRs for you to choose from. They are included in the plugin, and they all have their different characters that you can set up and then tailor the sound accordingly to your tone preference. I think it sounds really good. So let's check out what the aggressive knob does to the sound. And I have the stomp box section disengaged here, no tube screamer or boost. I'm gonna put the RVXX as the cab. No FX section, and the amp on slightly less gain, and that sounds like this. And then it sounds cool, and then we can add the aggressive knob, which adds aggression to the sound. It scoops a bit of mids, adds some bite and some low end as well, and a bit more gain to it. So let's check that out. And with it off, on, gets the sound a bit more to a mix ready sound. Add a bit more gain maybe. Let's try to reduce some gain, add the aggressive knob, and then maybe add the drive and see what that does to the sound. Yeah, really nice fat high gain tone there. Maybe a bit less gain. Really like that tone. So there you have it. The aggressive knob really helps to push the sound even further. Moving on to the FX section here. First of all, you have the graphic EQ, where you have a lot of bands to either take out some muddiness, maybe take out some low end, increase some low end, add maybe some 4K. Ooh. 4K is that notorious bad frequency that everyone wants to basically kill from all audio that's existing. But it actually, if you add a bit of 4K, maybe in some leads or some melodies, if you want them to stick out, you can just add a bit of 4K, and then it sticks out a bit more in the mix, because 4K is really sensible to the ear. And if you add that a bit, please, not as much, then it sticks out more and cuts through the mix a bit better. So graphic EQ, you can tailor the sound really nice after the amp here and after the cab. Next up is the delay, where you have your delay in milliseconds. You can sync it to the BPM of your song as well. You have your feedback, width, and mix. And if you set it, maybe it's for a solo, it can sound like this. nice short slapback delay. But if you add the feedback, add some length to the delay, maybe reduce some mix. And lastly, on the FX section is your reverb, where you have your size, decay, tone, pre-delay, and mix. And it sounds like this. And make it a bit on a shorter in a smaller room. Really nice. And reduce maybe some tone to get a bit back in the mix. Add some delay to it. Talking about that clean sound that I was after earlier, use it a less gain, maybe on channel 2, and then try it with clean sound. Crank some more gain to it. Maybe take out some lows with the graphic EQ here. And crank the mix. And then you get some cool ambient. Add some size, some width to it, maybe some more there. So there you go. It's a complete package of tones that you can get out of this plugin, with the stomp box section all the way to the amp, a lot of different types of cabs to choose from, and the FX section to tailor the sound after the amp. It's a really kick-ass amp sim, in my opinion. So if you have any more questions on this amp sim, head over to audiosalt.com. Make sure to follow them on all their social medias. And if you have any questions for me, please leave a comment in the section down below, and I'll make sure to answer to the best of my knowledge. If you want to support me, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever I release a new video. And if you like this demo, please leave a thumbs up. It really matters to me. And until the next video, I'll see you later.